this technology show. Now, today we have Lakshita Wijerathne. He's the CEO of Eutech Cybernetics as our guest today. Now, with over 20 years of experience in developing and implementing smart technology for workplaces, buildings, and cities, here they're going to talk about their smart property investment platform, iviva. Now, to tell us more, Lakshita, welcome to the show.
Great to be on the show, Brian. Thank you for having me on this show.
Now, for a start, could you give us an overview of Eutech Cybernetics? I mean, you're a company, as we were speaking offline, that I've heard of more than 20 years ago.
Right. So Eutech has grown into a group of companies. We have 5 entities within the group. iviva is a product company who is focusing on developing products and solutions for few segments: smart workplace, smart building, sustainability, and healthcare side of things. Then we have a Eutech Cybernetics. That is the company who is doing professional services. That is basically going after into the market, looking at the needs that people have, and then crafting solutions and implementing the same using iviva products. Then we also have a consulting arm called SSI. They do large format projects, program management, consulting, and we have embarked on managed services business from January of this year. So those are few companies that we have. And one more thing, we also have a marketplace called Spaceworks. That's the fourth entity that sells pre-built solutions for the PropTech industry. So you might ask, okay, what's the difference between Spaceworks and Amazon, for example? So here the specialization is, yes, we do sell products, software and hardware, but our main focus is selling pre-built solution blocks. Think of that as, Lego. You bind Lego pieces in crafting the overall solution. So since they are pre-built and pre-tested, obviously it will be faster to implement solutions compared to a traditional approach. So, and the last entity is called Agraganya. This is a not-for-profit organization. You might be surprised, right? So it's focusing on training aspects, going to underserved communities, taking the brightest, giving them an alternative to the traditional education system or the university system that we have in various countries. So idea is you get these young kids, give them an alternative path to become, creators, contributors towards low carbon economy. So they will be equipped with certain amount of tech, soft skills, so that they will be able to be, creators of this low carbon economy. So those are the 5 entities that we have. So we as a group has a certain vision that is to move towards sustainability, creating this low carbon economy and enabling everyone to thrive in this low carbon economy.
Okay, and so let's then, because you've got such a wide remit, we're going to then focus really around your real estate solutions for PropTech and also sustainability within the iviva product suite itself. Could you give us a perspective then again around your thinking of why you went into this space and the pain points around real estate and the pain points that various stakeholders were facing?
Right. So if you take the real estate industry, unfortunately, it's a laggard when it comes to adoption of tech. It has got itself labeled as a low tech industry, therefore sometimes struggling to attract, tech savvy younger workforce. Having said that, real estate industry is still a significant contributor in terms of emissions, when it comes to climate change and climate action, so on and so forth. So this is an industry that needs to be optimized, because if organizations and countries want to achieve this net zero goal by 2050, this is also a significant industry that we cannot overlook. So our roots has always been in real estate industry, except for the healthcare side of things. We started with integrating to building systems, various types of ELB systems, getting alarms, analyzing alarms, so on and so forth. So that has been our DNA. So then, with sustainability coming into the front as a key need, we thought, let's focus on smart workplaces, smart facilities management, and sustainability, because these three areas, anyway, are interlinked, intertwined, because each one will contribute towards the low carbon economy or reducing the carbon footprint. So that's how we ventured into these three areas. And then, as I mentioned, the latest addition, we have always been developing products, doing projects as solutions, and expecting the end customer to take over the project and run with it. What we saw was not all customers are capable of running software platforms effectively to get the maximum out of it. That is when we decided, why not provide this as a managed service, not as a tech solution to the customer, so that we will be able to deliver concrete numbers, concrete savings as a managed service. If you are the property manager, you wouldn't necessarily care what tool is used, but what you will care is that we will be saving, let's say, 40% of your manpower requirements, 20% of your energy, so on and so forth. That's what we will deliver through our managed service. So that's how we ventured from product to project to managed services.
And this is a big issue, isn't it? Because, okay, everyone talks about sustainability, UN SDGs, and so forth, climate change. But the reality is this: there are a lot of other problems within the real estate industry that that impede the acceleration. For example, we've got the International Energy Agency's estimates that 20% of the global building space needs to be retrofitted to be more energy efficient. And if you're not measuring energy efficiency with solutions, you don't even know where to start. I mean, everything, I think that common saying, if you can't measure it, you don't know what it is, right? So that's one of the key things. Also, retrofitting, and this is a problem that across, and let's just talk about our backyard across ASEAN. This is a huge problem. We have old office buildings that are no longer useful in their old form and need to be retrofitted. How do you then help building owners and funds who own these buildings then to then retrofit the buildings to make them intelligent buildings or smarter buildings so that they're more relevant moving
Right. It's a great question, because if you look at the statistics that the researchers have come about, what they are saying is 80% of the buildings that we have today will remain when we reach 2050, right? 80% of existing buildings. That's a huge number, which means all these buildings that were built, a couple of decades ago, that may not have had the greatest tech within those buildings, will continue to survive when we want to reach this net zero by 2050. So unless you improve these buildings, unless you do a tech refresh, you will continue to waste energy, increase emissions, and achieving this net zero by 2050 will become a challenge. So one might ask, okay, so then the easiest way out would be just demolish and reconstruct. what we need to understand is that if you take a building, there are various types of carbon emissions that is used for classification purposes. Right, one area is embodied carbon. That is the carbon that you consume in the building materials and also the building processes. Then once the building is built and handed over to operations, that is when operational carbon comes in. Those are the energy that you consume for the operations of the building. They are broken into three areas: scope 1, 2, and 3. Scope 1 is about um, energy that you can directly control. Maybe that's your manpower, that's your raw material. Scope 2 is your indirect energy. That is, if you get your power from your utility company, your gas, your water, you don't have full control, but you are still dependent on them to get your energy. So that's scope. Scope 3 is about your supply chain. You have upstream as well as downstream, right? If you are a manufacturing organization, for example. So you need raw materials to come in from various partners. Once you build the product, you need to basically send it to markets, supermarkets, so on and so forth. So those are the areas. So you need to be able to understand the energy consumption or the carbon footprint across all these three areas. So coming back to the tech refresh, if you take the option of demolition and reconstruction, both the demolition processes as well as reconstruction processes will increase your carbon emissions significantly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're better off getting the maximum out of the buildings that you have got. So there the challenge that we see, Brian, is that not all people are aware of the options that they have. They generally go to a consultant who will do a consulting assessment, give them a report, and then take it forward, right? So in certain cases, the cost itself becomes prohibitive to most of the customers. So what we profess, what we say is that we are promoting an affordable tech refresh. So I'm coming back to the Spaceworks marketplace that I mentioned.
Right.
The PropTech marketplace that has curated set of products and services, pre-built components. So if you buy, let's say, a simple air quality management building block or a visitor management building block, it's pre-built. You don't have to start looking for the right software, compatible hardware, do the integration, takes time, takes cost, and time to value is really high, right? So with this pre-built concept, we are able to give that at an affordable price, right? So the whole idea is doing a tech refresh with affordable smart devices. Traditionally, you go for building controllers. You don't need to go for building controllers. Today, you have low-cost alternatives based on IoT type of
Okay.
technology, right? So, and also software has evolved and matured to a level where they can do most of the work that the hardware used to do in the past,
Yes.
doing optimizations to emulations to all can be done using software. So what we promote, do a tech refresh with affordable smart devices, but make sure that the overall solution is software centric. Have a good platform that can be used for integrating all types of systems: IT systems, OT systems, IoT systems, building systems, business systems, right? So biggest challenge that we see in building industry is that there are multiple business segments operating within a building: facility management, sustainability, health and well-being, property management. These business units will buy their software in isolation and operate them in isolation. So they are silos. So the only way to break these silos is have an overarching platform that can integrate all types of systems onto a common platform. Once you have everything on a common platform, that's when you can digitalize your business processes, not just silo processes, but also the processes that cuts across these departments. So these platforms should be able to integrate, digitalize, and visualize so that you as the property manager will be able to run this property with management by exception, right? You only look at the exceptions and then you work towards. So,
Okay.
yeah. So
So
what
now,
we see
okay.
based on our experience is that if you do this low tech, affordable tech refresh centered around the software platform, is that you'll be able to get concrete savings immediately. So the property managers will be able to get, as I mentioned before, 30-40% manpower saving, 15 to 20% energy saving with a payback of less than 24 months. That's quite attractive, right? So
Yes.
it's no longer unaffordable. It's affordable to the masses. If we don't encourage masses to adopt this, that net zero by 2050 is going to be just another dream, right? So that's what we do in terms of addressing the needs of our customers.
Now, give us some examples then, Lakshita, of some of the customers that you've helped and some of the savings that the customers have realized in terms of dollar values as well as payback.
So we have done projects in we have done projects across 15 countries. So ASEAN is one area, one region. We do a lot of projects in Middle East, Saudi Arabia, so on and so forth. But one commonality that we have seen is everyone is focused towards sustainability, reducing their operating costs, um, which in turn will anyway reduce your carbon footprint, right? So in almost all of these projects, the payback period has been less than 24 months. In certain cases, it is as low as 12 months. It depends on the situation. It depends on the maturity of your processors, the maturity of or the availability of the right systems in your building. That basically changes the payback. If you take Singapore, we work with most of the large developers today, and we have done uh, several projects just to prove how much can be saved by deploying smart facilities management. And we also see, specifically from Singapore context, we have been bidding for many projects recently, government level as well as private sector. They have started asking for smart FM. They have started asking for platform-based solutions. So they have started realizing the benefit, and we work closely with Building Construction Authority of Singapore. We subscribe to integrated digital delivery and smart FM that they are promoting across the region. Our solutions are quite aligned with IDD process as well as smart FM. So we work with landlords. We also work with property management companies like CBRE, JLL, Knight Frank, Cushman and Wakefield, Colliers. Colliers Australia has been one of our long-standing customers. They have been using our application since early 2000s for managing 1,000+ properties across New Zealand and Papua New Guinea. So we will work with all of these, property management companies, and also we work with large um, developers in Singapore, such as Frasers, Capital Land, Singapore Land, so on and so forth. With all of them, we have already done some level of work to show one accuracy of our predictions, ability to do fault detection and diagnostics, root cause analysis, so on and so forth. One thing that when we started a few years back was that even today, that's a question that most of the landlords are asking. You say that you can predict faults, you say that you can move away from planned preventive maintenance and go towards this smart FM, which is predictive maintenance and operations. What is the accuracy? How can you guarantee the accuracy of these things? So that is when we say we have already done proof of concepts, we have done trial, we have proved in the industry that our model works. And recently, what we started doing, Brian, is that to address this particular question or the concern about the accuracy, we partnered with TUSUD. This is an international certification body. They have started reviewing our approach, our applications, and our models, and they will be giving an independent certification with regard to the accuracy of these predictions and detections. We also have got insurance companies to underwrite so that when we go ahead as a managed service and say, Brian, I'm going to save 20% of manpower or 20% of your energy. If we don't achieve, you don't pay. If there's zero risk for you, you will be signing up with us for, let's say, 3 to 5 year contract. It's a subscription that you will have to pay, provided we meet the KPIs that we agree with you, right? So how do we do it? With Tufsud and insurance companies, they will be doing the underwriting or taking away that particular risk, right? So for us, because it's a risk for us, if we don't meet, we don't get paid. For you, it's zero risk. But that is the direction that we have started moving towards starting from January this year. So it's a no-brainer for a customer. We'll do an initial audit and then we will give them a plan and say, look, Mr. Customer, we'll be able to give you this much of savings year 1, 2, and 3. Please sign a contract for 3 years or 5 years. We will guarantee saving. If we deliver this KPIs, you pay this percentage. So that's our latest direction that we took this year. Main reason for this, Brian, is this: you can give a Ferrari to a normal driver, he or she will not be able to drive that and get the maximum out of that machine.
Correct.
What if we give you the driver and drive you and you become the passenger enjoying the experience? That's what we are doing with managed service.
And so that's fantastic. It's been a fascinating conversation, Lakshita. I've learned a lot, and obviously there's a lot of things to we've unpacked, which the audience who's probably a building owner or a REIT owner or something should be would want to have some key takeaways and talk to you. So before we leave, however, what are some key three things that you want to leave the audience with?
This is what I want to sort of summarize. This climate change is an existential threat, and this net zero by 2050 is a great way of addressing that particular threat. So, as business leaders of ASEAN, there are certain things that the leaders must do to facilitate this journey towards net zero. One, these business leaders must build the green building capabilities within their organizations. Easiest way to do is get some green tech workers to drive these climate action initiatives, right? They know the domain, they are experts, they will be able to drive the initiatives that you give them. And then the most important one is educating all stakeholders within your business and within your ecosystem so that they are aware of carbon emissions, the impact of emissions to the environment. How do they mitigate this risk? How to reduce it? So this building these green capabilities is going to be one key responsibility of business leaders. Second one is gamification of savings. If you start giving your carbon footprint information at the individual level, the process level, the department level, and at the organization level, in comparison to industry benchmarks, they will be able to autocorrect lots of things on their own, or they will ask for help when needed. As an example, if you know your carbon footprint is higher than your colleague, you will be driven to get to the bottom of that. Similarly, if you are managing a building and if the competitor's carbon footprint is lower than yours, you are at a disadvantage because your costs are higher. You will not be able to get the green certification that you need. You may not be treated as a grade A building. You may not be able to attract global companies to come to you because you may not have that green certification. So you're at a disadvantage. So you will take corrective actions. It's not that government has to bring legislation all the time and penalize you to take corrective actions. So this gamification is a great way for people to auto-correct themselves. And then the third point is, encourage collaboration for collective impact. No one individual or organization will be able to address net zero by 2050. It needs collective actions. You need an ecosystem of partners who have a common vision towards this net zero, who will be able to sort of, they should be complementary and synergistic. You need to foster, innovation and camaraderie, so that unless you innovate, you will not be able to achieve these numbers. It's an audacious target because we are already way behind where we should be in terms
Yep.
of reaching zero. So we need to innovate. And business leaders must embrace artificial intelligence. Using AI, you'll be able to predict, automate, optimize all your standard operating procedures. You will be more profitable. You will have a lesser carbon footprint. So you'll be able to get your green certification and attract those global customers. And finally, it's time for business leaders to move away from these large tech solutions and move towards managed services, because you will be guaranteed to get your KPIs met, your carbon footprint met. These are, few areas that I thought will be quite beneficial for business leaders to embrace in this low carbon journey. So finally, I would like to invite everyone to join this mission of creating this world a smarter, greener place.
Lakshita, thank you very much for taking your time to be on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, Brian. Thank you.
Now, we've been speaking to Lakshita Wijerathne. He's the CEO of Eutech Cybernetics, and I'm Brian Fernandez. You've been watching and listening to BizTech's Technology Show. This interview will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our social media platforms. It'll also be on our syndication partners, TV stations, radio stations, and websites. Thanks a lot for tuning in.